Sunrise today. Well, now still talking about restructuring, but we've got Babajide Ogunsanwo, our data and information analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
Well, there's been several reasons for this. Groups keep talking about the fact that they're marginalized. They cite different reasons, but you've looked into this. How do the figures look?
There are several ways we could look at this, but I'd like us to start from a slightly different perspective, and that's in politics. Nothing happens by accident. If it happens, then you can bet it was planned that way. Franklin Roosevelt. And so today, what is the plan and story of self-determination and whatever other concerns we have as a united nation? And for me, the story of self-determination is similar to something that you and I perhaps have done before. In fact, sometimes I still do it, and that's driving and texting. Driving and texting.
FRS is looking for people like you.
But I'm also sure that you've also done it at some point in time. And it
used to mean I no longer.
But it's because we don't think of the long-term consequences. We think you can get away with it. We think of the short term. It's similar to what happened between Adam and Eve as well. Driving and texting. We shouldn't blame them because they didn't really think about the long-term consequences. We often just think about the short term. We often think about the short term. One of the challenges we have today is we've heard about the American dream. The American dream. But if you and I can't easily define what is the Nigerian dream, then yes, perhaps some people have the right to request for restructuring, to request for self-determination, or in other words, secession. And so let me make myself very clear and what my position is. I don't think secession, based on we not being able to define what the Nigerian dream easily is, secession or the right to self-determination isn't a bad idea. Just that unity is a more superior idea. And so we need to explore how we will stay united rather than totally reject the idea of secession. Unity is a more superior idea, not necessarily that secession is a terrible idea.
So that means that there will be terms for that unity?
Perhaps, but can we have unity without justice? Perhaps not. And you and I can no longer be silent. We need to make ourselves very clear, because in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Martin Luther King Jr. Today, I think we've got an arithmetic problem. Chamberlain, I strongly believe we've got an arithmetic problem, especially at the leadership level. We don't like the facts. We don't like analyzing the facts. We don't like interpreting the facts. We don't even understand the facts. What are these facts? Let's look at what had happened in 2015. That is often where this problem started from. And in 2015, we do remember during that election, the presidential election, there were only 10 states where President Buhari, led by the APC, or the APC led by President Buhari, didn't score up to 25% of the votes. Only 10 states. He didn't get 25% in none of the 5 states in the South-South. And excluding Edo State in the South, sorry, he didn't get 25% in none of the states in the Southeast. And excluding Edo State in the South-South, he also didn't get 25% in the remaining states in the South-South. So we can clearly see where these concerns started from. It all started during the election. The facts had shown it, but again, we do not like the facts. The facts had shown that there were these 10 states, all within these these southern regions, within these two blocks of the South-South and Southeast, that had rejected the candidacy of President Buhari.
Is that the root cause of this agitation, if you have to look at the figures? Did they fail to observe and take note that this is a potential catastrophe waiting to happen?
Perfect, exactly. So we need to ask ourselves, between 2015 to date, what exactly had been done with these facts? And so all of this has created regional tension. Regional tension. But even beyond regional tension, we need to look at even how power has been distributed. Today we've got 107 senators. We still have elections coming up in Anambra and Osun. But even in those senatorial seats, let's look at how it is distributed. Currently, the APC has 63 senators, the PDP has 44 senators. But Gimba, the challenge is not APC's 63 senators. The challenge is more than half of APC's senators are in two regions, the Northwest and the Northeast. Yes, you heard me correctly. More than half of those senators are within two regions. More than half of PDP's senators are also in two regions, the South-South and the Southeast. If you take off your glasses, you clearly see that it does look like a regional war. Especially if you are being told that the APC has only one senator in the Southeast, and indeed the PDP has only two senators in the Northwest. And so there's regional tension. Today we hear of emigration without looking at history and understanding where all of this came from. We do remember the late Chukwuma Kaduna Nziogu was an emigrant to Kaduna. And we also understand the role he played in the ending of the First Republic. And again, going back to how we started, Franklin Roosevelt, in politics, nothing happens by accident. None of these discussions that we're having today wasn't planned. There clearly is a plan.
So does that mean that this distribution of senators, both from different regions, they also, as it were, means that those projects wouldn't get to those states, but if it's getting to those states, whichever party they represent, will that be sufficient?
In an ideal situation, the location of the senators, whatever region it represents, shouldn't be the basis for project allocation. But again, we know how the mind and the structure of man is. We no longer make decisions based on rational reasoning. We make a lot of decisions based on emotional factors. And so we cannot rule out the possibility that decisions, especially with regards to how capital projects will be allocated, wouldn't just be based on merits or need, will be based on wants. You can't rule it out. You can't rule it out. But let's clearly understand the peculiarities, Chamberlain, of each of the regions and what they really represent. Today, the Southeast is the minority in any way you want to define it. Minority population based on the 2006 census. They received the minority allocation from FAC. They've got the minority budgets. They've got the minority debts. In every way, they do look like the minority. Just the other day I shared that Kwara State, where the president of the Senate is from, is larger than the entire southeastern region.
In terms of landmass?
In terms of landmass. Bauchi State, where the Speaker of the House of Representatives is from, is larger than the entire southeastern region. And so we can see that there will sometimes be some concerns that even the leaders don't really understand the challenges that the youths or some of the adults in those regions face.